Growing up, I was far from brave. I would be anything and anyone to fit in. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to look good. I remember when I was 12, I used to go home and memorize the names of perfumes and designers and fashion models because the cool kids would play this game at school during lunch where they would come up with a category, let's say designers, and they would see who could outdo the other, who knew more names. Now, I was not very much into brands or names at that age. Still am not, but I tried. I tried so hard, and the ironic thing was that the harder I tried, the more uncool I was. I had full-on songs with actions made up about me. Barrel of poo, I want to kick that. I'll save you, but barrel rhymed with Carol. It was all about me. I then went to boarding school, and the girls in the grade above me, they didn't really like me very much either. They used to come into my room in the middle of the night, line up their hands along the edge of my mattress, count to 3 under their breath, and then boom, flip my mattress up against the wall. By the time I woke up and had come to, they had left the door, leaving nothing but a trail of chuckles in their wake. It's true, girls can be cruel. But I took that to mean that I was uncool. Now, luckily, there was one person who liked me, one person who saw me, who knew me, who got me, my mom. And so when I confided in her that my dream was not to go to pre-med or pre-law as was expected, but it was actually to apply to theater schools instead, she encouraged me to do so without telling my father. And even though I got scholarships to attend the former, she was there the day the envelope came, and I still remember her and I holding it up to the light to see what it said inside. And much to my shock and my father's chagrin, I got in. Broadway, here I come. She was at every opening and every closing of every show I ever did. They had us do these weird exercises at acting school. I remember one time they asked us to roll around on the ground with our eyes closed, expressing our emotion using nothing but ah. And I had no idea what to do. I mean, ask me to memorize important history dates or complicated math formulas or buffer up an English essay with unnecessary flowery language. I had that down pat. But roll around on the ground with my eyes closed, expressing my emotion using nothing but ah. And so I was that girl who hid in the corner, who was peeking open my eyes, looking at what everybody else was doing, because I wanted to do it right. I wanted to look good. I had a fear of looking bad. It was the story of my life. I remember another exercise they asked us to do, which was to trigger our greatest fear in order to evoke emotion and tears. And mine was always the same. What would I ever do if I ever lost my mom? She wore a wig to my 21st birthday party. My parents were European, so I never got that sweet 16, but I did get the coming-of-age 21st party. Now, she wasn't in costume. She wasn't trying a new fashion statement. She was wearing a wig because she was going through chemo, and none of us knew. We weren't allowed to tell anyone. We were that family from the outside. Everything was perfect. So she went through treatment. Her hair eventually grew back, and we washed our hands of it as if nothing ever happened until it came back, and this time with a vengeance. I eventually moved back home to look after her and felt purpose for the first time in my life. Finally didn't feel like I wasn't good enough, wasn't tall enough, skinny enough, blonde enough to land the role or get the gig. I was exactly where I needed to be. And as hard as that time was, it was also the most special of my life. And then she passed away. And in an instant, I lost my number one fan, I lost my purpose, and I lost me. So I escaped. I went on a mad search to find me again. I started volunteering in Thailand for HIV-positive orphanages for babies and children, to Mother Teresa's missions of charity in Calcutta. I lived in an ashram, practiced intense yoga and meditation, shaved my head, raised $10,000 for breast cancer. I met a man. I moved into his van. I went apple picking in New Zealand for a year. Why not? I've lived in 16 different countries. I've gone volcano boarding in Nicaragua, surfing in Peru, climbed Kilimanjaro. Now, I'm not saying this to brag or boast. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, wow, you've really lived big. Way to be brave. But the ironic thing is I wasn't living big. I was hiding big, escaping big, because I wasn't brave enough to face the world without that one person who believed in me. Eventually, I figured I got to do something with my life, and I wanted to leave a legacy for my mom. And I realized in order to do that, I had to get over myself. Because If you're not brave enough to be you, you're not going to be able to help anybody else. And so I started to be braver, to be more me, to share, to love, to celebrate, to be real, to be seen, and to see others. And eventually started Women Living Big and the Brave Institute to help bring people together who are ready to be seen and who are ready to experience their life. Because as cliche as it sounds, life really is too short. And so now, whether or not it's helping women climb Kilimanjaro or go skydiving, I get to be the cheerleader for others the way that my mother was a cheerleader for me. My mom and Maria left this world all too soon, and yet their legacies live on because they were brave enough to be themselves. So I dare you to be brave enough to be you, to not care about what other people think, to not try and fit in or be anything or anyone that you're not, because ultimately you're only going to be the best in the world at being you. Let no one ever come to you without leaving better or happier. Mother Teresa. And my mom's favorite quote, and very much the way that Maria lived her life. No wonder her philosophy was share, love, celebrate. I dare you to be brave enough to share all of you with those that you meet, to be seen, to be real, to be vulnerable. I dare you to love yourself as well as others, to put yourself out there without fear of getting hurt. And I dare you to celebrate the wins, the losses, the good times, the bad, each other, and this moment, because we will never have this moment again. Let no one ever come to you without leaving better and happier. And may you be brave enough to share, love, and celebrate. And wouldn't the world be a far better place if we all did just a little more of that? Thank you.